Hey, 1% Nation. It's going to be a couple seconds until I know if this stream is working properly. But this is the 1% Engineer Show, episode 101. That's right, breaking the silence a little bit here. Getting back to putting out some videos as much as I can. As you guys know, about a month ago, I announced a slowdown, a pausing of this show, because I am setting up the infrastructure to be working on some future things. If you guys are just jumping in the chat right now, go ahead and say what's up. I didn't announce this to anyone. I didn't drop it in the Facebook group. Just kind of going live. I'm watching content all the time. I'm always thinking about things to learn myself and what I can do with that to, whatever I'm learning at the moment, what I can do with that to, what's up, TC? What I can do with that to teach you guys as well. And I was watching a video on networking tonight, and a couple things came up here. So I'm going to run through my top 3 tips that I have for networking in 2018 really quickly. What's up, Mr. Ja? I'm going to run through. Is that Dr. Ja? What's up, Deflector? What's up, Henry? What's up, guys? Thanks for stopping by and saying what's up. So I'm going to run through these top 3 networking tips real quick. And then these streams usually, I've streamed 10, 15 times in the past. They generally turn into a Q&A. So I will, what's up, Tommy Williams? I will ask you, or we'll have you guys ask whatever questions you like. But for now, for once, when I'm streaming live, I'm actually, what's up, Kevin? I'm actually going to run through a top 3 list. So networking to me is the only reason why I've been able to do all the stuff that I've been able to do, which doesn't come with a foundation of awesome GPA, doesn't come with a foundation of being the smartest engineer in the room or the smartest person in the room ever. It's all about who you know. Your net worth is your network. And I think that for what I'm trying to do right now, building a business, and what you guys are trying to do right now, which is find the best opportunities you can for yourselves, it's all about who you know. It's all about who you can surround yourself with and who you can add value to on the front end, build a relationship with, and eventually maybe have an ask for them. That's the reason why this video is so important to me, because I'm spending a ton of my time right now having coffees and meetings and just even phone and email and building relationships with people that I think I can help, and maybe they can help me too. So tip number 1 is always reach out to a warm contact. Right, I've experimented with lots of cold emailing over the years, 5 years of cold emailing, or just walking up to someone blind at a networking event and not knowing a whole lot about them. This stuff never works. This stuff never, ever works. Never email someone blind. Never email someone cold. Have something to say. Like, hey, I saw your thing here. Or, hey, we talked at this thing. Or hey, I know that you know this person. And almost put it in the subject line, right? I will say very often when I'm emailing someone for the first time after doing a series of other things, I will say, hey, from blah, 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 and I'll give context. A lot of my relationships get built off of me being the video producer for TEDx Wilmington. So I'll say, hey, from TEDx Wilmington video guy. And that's it in the subject line of the email. Or when I walk up to people and talk to them at networking things, I have a plan. And I know what this person has done over the last 3 months, 4 months. We can use a job fair for you guys as engineers, student engineers, young engineers. A lot of situations, a lot of this advice is going to be applicable to the progression of getting to that interview. Meeting at a networking event or a career fair, getting that first interview, or maybe a phone interview, and then a first interview, blah, blah, blah. But actually having a home run situation face-to-face with that person for the first time is your first goal. So you need to know what that company has done over the last 3-6 months. What awards, what big projects, what new softwares, what new executives have been hired, things like that. So always have something interesting to say on the front end. Have a warm scenario, not a cool or cold scenario where you don't know anything about each other. You want to at least know a lot about them. So if you guys are just jumping in the chat right now, go ahead and say what's up and give you a little shout out. So that's tip number 1. I'm going to run through these pretty quickly, and then we can get into some Q&A if you guys want. It's kind of funny streaming for the first time in a little bit, because last time I did this, I had like 40 or 50 people on here for the most, but it's what the YouTube algorithm does. If you don't put a video up for 4 or 5 weeks, it'll crush your viewership. So tip number 2 when networking is to give first. offer first? What can you do for that person? Speak in terms of their wants, needs, desires, hopes, dreams, whatever they're working on, whatever they want to achieve. Like, say you are interviewing for a company, you know that they're building this new division or they have this new project and they need expertise that you may happen to have. Never talk in terms of you, what I'm trying to do, what I want for my resume, what I want to learn. Talk in terms of them. How can you help them, right? Make it about them. Everyone sees the world from their own perspective. They think about their problems and their goals and their world, right? So if you can speak about solving their challenges, solving their issues, finding a path to clear up their problems and make it about them, what can you give? You will be much more successful. You will be much more successful because then what you will find is you end up winning so much more in the end because this person knows that you're not engaging with them or trying to build a relationship with them or just have some sort of relationship trajectory because of what's in it for you. You're making it about them. You're trying to help them. It's just such a better foundation for a relationship, and you will find that you will win tenfold in the end if you start with that. Now, let me give you some more examples about what I've been doing in the last year that can connect to this. So as you guys know, I volunteer all over the place. Board member for the Mars Generation, TEDx video producer. Thanks, TC. What's up, Absurdus? Emerson, haven't seen you in a while. What's up, guys? No, it's okay, Tommy. Don't worry about that. So I've been helping lots of organizations kind of, I wouldn't say blindly, but like not having any expectation in return. TEDx Wilmington, the Mars Generation, I helped out with Discovery a little bit. I recruited astronaut Abby and Dr. Tracy Fanara for the Global Marathon. So I've just been giving, helping, right? And even within the TEDx Wilmington example, which is kind of like my strongest path to building a video business, using TEDx speakers as relationships and then helping them with their businesses, I interview all these speakers right when they come off stage. I've done 130 TEDx speaker interviews in the last 6 or 7 months. It's been awesome. So I make the video for them. I send it to them. Don't ask for anything. And in certain instances, I will even make 2 versions of the video. I'll take out the best part and put their brand's logo in it and just send it to them. Just give it to them. A gift, right? No ask, a give. And in a lot of situations, I don't even do the latter. I just put the TEDx Wilmington branding on it, put it on YouTube, and say, hey, here's your video, right? And they may have forgotten about it because I'm usually 2 or 3 months behind, but it's a big gift. It's this moment that was so key to them, and they want to relive that moment because they're so emotional and they got off stage. Anyway, so I can't tell you how many situations where I give them this gift, and then people say, hey, I have these videos I want you to work on. No business development, right? No marketing, no ads, no nothing. And it's because I gave them something. It was called a no ask front end relationship build, right? Or relationship enhancement. This person already knew me. Again, they're not a cold contact, they're a warm contact. And I make them a little video, make them happy, make them smile. And then they say, hey, I need some more videos. So this just works so much. So how can this work for you? How can this work for you? So say you want to build a good relationship with your professor, right? Say you want to build a good relationship with a professor in university. You want to do research with them. Maybe you want a letter of recommendation. Maybe you want to be one of their master's students when you are going from senior year into the rest of your life. You need to figure out what you want to do. Maybe go to them and offer to help them out with some of their research. Maybe offer to help them out on grading some assignments. Maybe stay after class and always make sure you are there to help facilitate the discussion. Maybe you can ask them to support their TAs. You can offer a front-end value add to build a good relationship with this professor. So imagine how you stand out when you do this instead of being all the other students who just come to professors and say, hey, I need this from you. I want this because of this other thing. If you are the one person giving, offering, adding value on the front end, you will become their favorite student. You will become the student that they want to write an awesome letter of recommendation for. You will be the student that they talk about to their other professor friends. This happened to me. You do a good job with them doing research or whatever, you end up being brought up to all the other professors. So then all your other course situations improve. You may find other opportunities with other professors. It's literally happened to me. I did research with one, and then I became a grader for another. and then my grade performance increased all across the board. I felt this accountability to be better in general, but they all knew who I was, and it helped, right? Because I gave and I offered and kind of stood out from the crowd. So that's what you guys need to do as well. Tip number three. Here's a big word that I did not know before the SATs or maybe even before vocab for the GRE, but you need to develop omnipresence with these people that you're building a relationship with. What omnipresence means is that you are present everywhere, right? Omnivore means you eat everything. Omnipresence means you are present all over the place. You are everywhere. And the way to develop omnipresence today is through social media, okay? And this is a little interesting in this situation because the example is most applicable to entrepreneurs building relationships with other entrepreneurs, but you guys can definitely do the same. Let me give you an example. So you will have a professor here and there who blogs or who is pretty active on Instagram or makes YouTube videos or something. They put content on the internet, and you don't really have the ability to no, I'm not into crypto. I mean, been following Bitcoin and crypto for 5 years, Tommy, but no, I don't mess with that. It's too late. You don't want to get in now. Just wait. So how you develop omnipresence, let me give you an example that is actually applicable. Say you have a TA that you want to build a relationship with because you want to end up doing more research with that TA and a professor. The way to be omnipresent all over is if you can connect with that TA on Facebook or you follow them on Instagram or you figure out what their Snap is or whatever. What you want to do, and it's likewise on LinkedIn, and if somebody has a blog or they go on Medium, whatever. But if you are always engaging with their community, if you are always commenting and adding value and adding your perspective, and you are everywhere all at the same time with that person, they're going to recognize you here and there. They're going to see this pattern. Think about it with my channel, right? The people who comment on all my videos, I end up being able to recognize the pattern of who they are. And we build this relationship even without talking in the moment. They comment, I might comment back. I see that they're involved in whatever I'm up to. They're becoming a part of my community. That's what you guys need to do as well. So if you have again, person that you're trying to have an informational interview with, or just someone that you want to get closer with in your world, it's a little bit different with you guys as students because the target relationship people are not always on social and not always bloggers, and they aren't always video creators. But you really have to keep this stuff in mind, guys, is making sure you are commenting on everything that you possibly can and adding value with these people that you're trying to build a relationship with. And for me, when I am looking for people to come on the show historically, or some person that I'm trying to build a relationship with, I'll find them on Instagram. I'll find their website. I'll figure out all the social platforms that they're active on. So for example, with me, it would be YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. I don't post a ton of stuff on Facebook. I don't really snap. And what I do is then I reply to this person's stuff. I look at their Snap story or their Instagram stories, and I comment on all their YouTube videos, and I'm just always there. I'm always there. And then when I finally send that email that says, hey, I love what you're doing with this thing that you're doing, blah, 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 I would love to talk about more about how I can help you. Let's have coffee, right? They know who I am. Even if we've never been introduced, even if I am a pure cold contact, this is how you develop that omnipresence so that you're always on their mind, or the minute that they see that email from you, they say, oh yeah, that's right, this person. Right? And they almost feel this obligation to respond, and it's the thank you economy. I have a book back here called The Thank You Economy. They almost have this obligation to be nice and respond. And maybe even if they're not sure, even if they're really busy, they might take you up on that coffee just because they can see that you've invested in them, you've invested in their community. So those are my top 3 tips for networking in 2018, guys. Warm introductions, always had something interesting to say, like you know about that company, or you were suggested from XYZ that you reach out to this person. Always have that warm intro. Give on the front end. Give and you will receive so much more on the back end. So what can you do for that person? What can you offer? How can you add value to that person? That's what you need to do. That's tip number 2. And develop omnipresence via social media. Somebody that you want to have coffee with, you want to get to know better, you want to become a part of their team or work with them, whatever. You should be commenting on all their blog content, video content, Facebook, everything, whatever platforms that they're on, become a part of that world. It's so easy, guys. I can't tell you how many people who I would have once upon a time thought was totally out of reach, and I just commented on their stuff for 30 days and then finally sent an email and they're like, oh my God, they feel like we're friends already, right? So this is what you guys need to do. Those are the top 3. At this point, I don't have any more preconceived video things. So if you're in here, for the 14 of you watching and you have some questions about what you're trying to figure out, majors to choose or career stuff, whatever you have, go ahead and drop it in the chat. I'll answer a few questions. Otherwise, I'll get back to videos pretty soon. Got a couple really cool things going on right now. I'm producing the show for Astronaut Abby now, which I'm really happy about. Got a couple other projects that have been happening. That's why I've been pausing the show, is because I'm working on projects, basically commercial projects, right? I'm building that client base. So go ahead and drop your questions in. I'm not seeing any right now. I know this stream does have like a 20-second delay from what I say and what I do to when you guys see it. So I'm sure there's just a couple people like Absurdus in here might be just listening in and not really commenting on anything, but seeing no questions here, this is a good opportunity for anyone who's in the chat to have some one-on-one time and just get a couple things answered real quick. But I'm really happy that people stopped in here. I guess I'm not going to get any questions. It's totally fine. Really happy that people stopped in here for the few of you who will be rewatching this. It has been, what's up, Deflector? What's up, Henry? So, but anyway, I'm going to finish my sentence. It's been an interesting month or so. It was definitely an emotional, turbulent time for me at the 1-year anniversary of the show, which was right around Valentine's Day, February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day. And it's been good. It's been good. I don't really know how this is going to work, how I'm going to run the show in the future, being that I'm going to be building, or am now, but shifting over into content. I don't know if it's going to end up being on YouTube, but I will be putting out some content about how to market your business with video and YouTube Live and using YouTube and just content marketing strategies. So I don't know if I'm going to put that on this channel. I probably will, to be honest. I won't have it be a part of the 1% Engineer series, but it will be an interesting rest of the year, just like last year, very dynamic. I mean, this time last year I was still living in Western Canada, and I did the 3,000-mile drive across America just 11 months ago. It was late April. And it's been crazy. So I'll get to your questions right now. Thank you so much. Tommy Williams, you are welcome. Henry Jenkins, what is a good job to get in for the summer as a mechanical engineering student if I can't get an internship? Interesting question. If you can't get an internship, well, what I would do is I would do what we've been talking about, is reach out to your professors right now and try to get involved with research. Even just volunteer unpaid research with a professor in some sort of engineering situation is way better than working at Starbucks. You are not going to have any career benefit by working at Starbucks. You might as well, if you can't get anything engineering related or anything that is remotely similar to engineering in any way, you are better off not working unless you absolutely need the money. You're better off not working and working on engineering projects at home all summer, like building this crazy portfolio of Arduino projects or coding projects or rockets or whatever. But you need to develop experience. We live in this world where fewer and fewer young engineers have experience going out of school. They just know some stuff that they learned in the classroom, and they don't have any relationships, and they're screwed. They think they're okay. They think that degree is going to carry them into a $60,000, $70,000 a year job, and that's wrong. You need experience. So, Henry Jenkins, that's my advice for you. Deflector, what's up? I'm starting college this fall, he says. Should I search for internships right away or after a year? I think you are searching for your first full-time job all 4 years of college. So what that means is searching for internships. If you can get one after a freshman year, if you actually work on it, like most students do not, you can get one. So you should start right away. And what you should be doing is conducting informational interviews with surrounding firms in the niches that you believe you want to work for after graduation, or you want to explore with an internship. You should be going out of your way, pick up the phone, roll in there, dressed appropriately, and say, hi, I'm the Deflector, and this is what I'm up to, and I would love to conduct an informational interview and learn more about what you guys do. And there's the tip. Here's the hack. Here's the tip. Talk about how you'll write up a short piece and hopefully it will get shared by the university. Again, that's your give. That's your offer. That's your value add. You want to write a little story about this company, and I want to come in for an informational interview about that. That's what you need to do. Absurdus, no problem, man. I'm really glad you're here. Habib, what's up, man? Do I target small companies or large companies for internships? It doesn't matter. It is most bigger companies are going to have a program for internships. They may be a little bit more involved with lots of other communities. I think your chances of getting an internship, especially paid, are much higher with a large company. So I would start with that. But it all depends. It depends what, like if you want to work in a niche field, like robotics or computer vision with cars, like autonomous vehicles or rocket stuff, you may have trouble penetrating some of those large companies or some of the few large companies that exist. It may be better to work for a smaller startup. It all depends, but I would say large. Official Snagger, thanks for coming out. Thanks for the question. How do I find projects for electrical engineers? You need to expand that question. I do not know what you mean. Mohammed, AAS, Civil Engineering and Community College. What do I think? I do not know what AAS is, because I live in a place that does not use that acronym. So I'm going to be pretty ruthless here, guys. If somebody who is not from where you live or just have no clue about your situation right now, you need to be a little bit more specific with your questions. Sean Davidson, thank you for the question. How bad does it affect your reputation if you leave your current company and go direct to a direct competitor, i.e. structural consulting? Sean Davidson, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. The reason why it happens all the time is because competitors do similar stuff. And the reason for that, being kosher, is that you're doing one thing with company A and company B does the same thing. And so for you to jump ship, there's no training. You may know the same clients. You may know the same subcontractors. You may know the same codes. It happens all the time. So what I would discourage you from doing, Sean Davidson, is burning a bridge when you do that, okay? Don't upset people, because that will not be good for you in the future with your new company if you're going to do this, because they are going to have a chip on their shoulder and it may hurt you in your future position. You may not get them to partner or subcontract, or they may say bad things about you to other people in your company. So I just encourage you to not exit inappropriately. Don't burn any bridges, and try to stay depending on your age. I'm assuming you're young. You should be staying at jobs for at least 2 years, 1 year at the minimum right now if you're young, because that kind of can show that you're jumping ship. But it's not that big a deal. TC Barry, thanks for the question. Make sure your credits transfer. I don't know what that means. Absurdus, is material science a good major for working with nanotechnology? No. Material science is... So nanotechnology is effectively the study of little tiny robots, okay? Material science has to do with the study of physical things. So if you wanted to go into composite engineering, if you wanted to design the stuff that goes on the shell of vehicles, and if you wanted to help design the structural components or the surfacing or the parts for nanotechnologies, then maybe material science is a good fit. But material science is kind of, it's a weird, like the people who I know who have gotten advanced degrees in material science, because I don't think that's an undergraduate degree, so you would have to get a master's degree in that. They generally go into like designing carbon fiber stuff for certain applications, military applications, space shuttle applications, high speed, high heat, things where the material is under a lot of stress, right? Working with stronger steels, things like that. So if you want to go into nanotechnology, you need to do electrical engineering or mechanical engineering and try to get into robotics. I don't think material science is the fit for that. TC Barry, how do you find projects that will be open source and assist them? Okay. I still am struggling to really understand what you're asking. How do you find projects that will be open source, which means anyone can work on, and assist them in their mechanical engineering? So I don't know. Tell me more about your situation. Where are you right now? Are you a student at what university? How much experience have you had in the past? What are you trying to do? Because your questions are so vague and confusing to me that I don't think I can help you. Thanks, TL. Appreciate that. Deflector. I volunteer at a hospital, and they have a volunteering engineering department. Great. I want to major in ME. Should I go for it? I don't know. I can't answer that. So this is the most common question and concern and struggle that I have ever seen in the last year and a half, year and 3 months working on this project, is that you guys are overwhelmed and confused with what major to choose. And the disconnect between a major, just a title, like mechanical engineering and what you think you want to do in your career right now. Okay. So most people, they talk about, so Deflector, this is targeted right at you. Okay. Whether or not you should be looking at mechanical engineering. Most people, most young engineers, they think that the right path to choosing the fit for them is they start with which ones make the most money. Okay. What are the salaries? They look at that. And then they look at, they ask me this question, which is ridiculous. They say, what does the job outlook look like? What is the future of this type of engineering? Which is just as ridiculous, okay? Just super duper ridiculous, because you want to know how this thing has changed the world, right? This thing has changed the world, a smartphone. It wasn't even around 10 years ago. Could you have predicted that? Could you have predicted that you have all these coders who are working on mobile applications? Hundreds of thousands of people around the world, millions of people around the world are software developers for iOS situations. Could you have predicted that? Hell no. Could you have predicted 10 years ago that the internet was going to change this world as we know it? Could you have predicted that? Could you have predicted that there would be this massive boom for computer science, for web development, for everything that is related to the internet? Could we have predicted that? No. Even 3 or 4 years ago, could you have predicted that SpaceX is doing what they're doing now and Blue Origin is doing what they're doing now, and that people who are in school right now are looking at aerospace engineering because they know that's the future? Could you have predicted that? Absolutely not. Could you have predicted that 3, 4 years ago we would have seen oil go from $110 a barrel all the way down to $25, and petroleum and chemical engineers panicking about their career outlook? Could you have predicted that? Absolutely not. So if you don't go off salary, if you can't go off job forecasting, which is ridiculous, what you need to do is you need to go off of what you're interested in right now, what you're passionate about right now. Because, so again, Deflector, if you think that you're into mechanical engineering, ask yourself why. Ask yourself what types of hobbies and content you absorb on the internet. What do you read about? What are you interested in? What do you find yourself thinking about in terms of your engineering career? Do you think about working with robotics? Do you think about designing the components that might go on this iPhone? Do you think about testing components that go in something? What failed in this device, or how can we make this device cheaper and better and faster? That's what mechanical engineers typically do. They design parts for things, or they work with the building components like the heating and air conditioning components within buildings, which is pretty boring to me, or they work with thrusters and engines, thermal engines. So mechanical engineers can bridge very easily into aerospace engineering. That's another question that I get. Can mechanical engineers work as aerospace engineers? The answer is yes, because one of the 3 pillars of mechanical engineering is thermal combustion. So again, Deflector, this has been a long response to your question, but it is the most common pattern that I see is that engineers don't know how to choose the major they don't know how to choose the right major for them. And it's hard. I thought I was civil, registered as civil, switched to electrical, I don't remember. I think I put electrical on my application after thinking I should go civil, but I went electrical, and then I switched. I had this epiphany the summer before. I switched back to civil, and I've been pretty happy with that. I'm not into code, so electrical engineering, I probably would have failed. Okay, what's up, guys? So go ahead and drop whatever questions in the chat. As long as I'm getting questions, I'm going to keep the stream going. What do we got here? Associate of Applied Science. I still don't know what that is. Gravity, what's up? I'm studying civil engineering. Do I have any tips? Yes. Build relationships with great students. Don't hang out with loser students. Build awesome relationships with your professors. They're the most... excuse me. It's funny that this shirt looks so blue on here. It is purple. Develop awesome relationships with your professors. They are the most powerful people you will meet for a long time in your life. And the other tips are, that's mostly it. It's all about relationship, right? It's all about, and build experience, build a portfolio, and just meet people. You have to build a good network. That's really what this video is all about. That's what life is all about. Your net worth is your network. And you will find that all the opportunities you ever get in your life are because somebody knew you already. Somebody trusted you already. Somebody didn't have to take a risk with you. They knew that you can come through with work. They knew that you're trustworthy. They knew that you were going to be committed. They knew that you're passionate about something, and they gave you a shot. They gave you an opportunity. So being successful in any engineering is just like being successful in life, is to build good relationships with powerful people, whether that be students, professors, corporate people outside of university, joining clubs and building relationships with the older engineers in those clubs and societies. That's what you need to do to be successful. What's up, Mew? Long time no see. Thanks a lot for stopping into this stream. Yo, Jake, I really missed the live streams. Sorry about that, but Mew, I don't know if you got all updates about what I'm up to. I gave a long explanation about what's going on in episode 100 that came out about a month ago, so go ahead and check that out. Really busy. It's okay. Thank you for the heart. I love that. Mew, if you ever need any help with anything, I think you're in the Facebook group. Join that. You know where it is. It's right here. The information is in the live stream. Emerson, I'm serious. Georgia Tech has a material science. By the way, Emerson, if you can get into Georgia Tech, go there. It's a great school. I got denied for grad school to Georgia Tech. Great school. Has a material science engineering undergrad degree. That's why I'm considering that one. I'll definitely look into electrical. Emerson, how's your coding? Do you like to code? Do you like to program? Because if you like the software side, I think you should just go right for electrical engineering. That may be the differentiator for you. TC Barry, I have a degree in mechanical engineering and 3.5 years experience in mechanical. Great. Plus 6 years experience in electrical design. Great. I want to help others. Great. And you are trying to do what? Let me go back up here and look. How do I find projects that's open source? I mean, here's what you need to do, okay? I understand what you're trying to do now. So, TC Barry, where do you live? What city do you live in the world? And I'm going to give you some advice. Official Snagger, can I get an internship without having a job? Absolutely. That's what internships are. Des, what's up, man? Thanks for stopping by. Official Snagger, that's exactly what internships are. They are for people who are either still students or are still building enough credentials to get a full-time job. You can definitely be an intern as an adult who is not a student. It's just a little unorthodox, but that's okay. Seattle, great. And you're relocating to San Diego. Okay, TC Barry, this is what you need to do. You need to start going to tech meetups. You need to start going to coder meetups. You need to start going to developer meetups. Meetup.com, find the Facebook groups. What will happen is you get into one of these communities and then you'll see a chain reaction. There'll be Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups and probably Slack channels and Discord channels and meetup.com groups. And you will find these people and it will create a chain reaction. So what I would encourage you to do is start researching right now. Start building, like if you're going to Seattle if you're going to San Diego in 2 or 3 months, then maybe just start researching. But if you're not going for 6 months, you can get involved with the Seattle scene. There's a really good developer and basically people who are working on side projects, building stuff, making stuff. They're all entrepreneurs, regular people who get home and watch South Park. They don't work on the stuff that you're working on. You need to befriend entrepreneurs. You may be an entrepreneurial mindset person yourself, which maybe means that you can build something and start your own business, or at least get involved and build an awesome portfolio and then get better jobs and maybe work for one of the big tech companies or something. But this is what you need to do. You need to go out there, you need to meet people who are working on this stuff, and again, follow these three. You can say, hey, I found you on this, and I can see that you guys are doing that, and I want to talk to you about this. That's a warm intro. You know about them. Or say, hey, somebody in this group suggested that I could contact you in this group, right? Warm contact. And give before you can receive, right? Offer to help. Offer to get involved. Don't talk about you. Talk about them. And then develop omnipresence. When you figure out who the tribe leaders are of these communities, of these groups, follow them on Instagram. Follow them on all their platforms and comment, engage, get involved. Show yourself. It's so easy. It's free. It's so easy peasy to build a relationship with someone and become omnipresent over social media. So those are the 3 things, TC Barry, that you can be doing to hit your goals, which is to get involved with open source and developer type projects and use your mechanical engineering background to hopefully find a group that's building a product. Maybe you can have them take their software situation or their online community or whatever and help them build a physical product, right? That's your mechanical engineering value add or whatever. I don't know. But that's definitely what you need to do. Making stuff happen in this world does not happen behind closed doors, does not happen unless you're streaming and you're making content. It doesn't happen unless you get out into the world and do stuff with people, okay? So that's my advice to you. Good luck on that. Join the Facebook group. I would love to follow up with you and be an accountability member for you and say, hey, TC Barry, a month from now, here we are, end of March, at the end of April, what have you done? Who have you met? What 3 people have you been talking to or been following? And either from afar or directly, develop people who can become your mentors. You can figure out, here's what, TC, write this down. Figure out where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do, what you're trying to either become. Figure out what you're trying to do. Find people who are already there, right? Who are already doing that, and hang out with them, okay? That's what you need to do. Deflector. How was my first year working as a civil engineer? I saw that Major Prep did a lot of reports, like lab reports. Maybe. He is an electrical engineer, so I don't know if he actually did a bunch of lab reports. You probably do know. But yeah, Zach, his name, Major Prep's name is Zach. He's awesome. I'm really happy he did that face reveal. I did so much coaching with him about what camera to buy and how to do it, and he practiced, and it turned out great. Everyone loves him. He's gonna soar to 100. What's up, Rain Elf? He's gonna like soar to 100 subs. So my first year as a civil engineer was awesome. It was in Chicago for a Canadian company, the one that sent me to Vancouver. I've been in traffic, okay? Traffic engineering. That's the facet of civil engineering that I pursued. And that does not mean then that I'm working on bridges and buildings and stereotypical things that civil engineers work on. I don't even really do the roadway design, highway design stuff. So my first year is it's generally working on technical applications. Like you're usually either, I guess I'll speak a little bit more generally then because I was in a niche role. But you're usually doing something on AutoCAD. You're usually working with plans. You're working on the red lines because the chain of command will be that you have a division leader and then has project managers. And then those project managers have a team, each of them. And you will be the lowest person on the totem pole. So you are usually either back checking someone else's check, right? Or you are dealing with red lines. You're usually going to be like fixing changes in AutoCAD or some software or some calc sheets, lab reports. That's probably what Major Prep Zach was working on. He was looking at reports and checking through them to make sure, or maybe even writing the reports himself. You will probably be very much so a reviewer, a checker, a fixer in your first year. You will be learning by people coming over to you and say, hey, so we need all these changes to this plan or this design or this whatever, and hopefully they explain to you what's going on. So in this project, you know that we're trying to do this, and this is why this thing is wrong, and this is what you need to change it to now, right? This is what your first year will most likely be, especially in civil engineering. What do we got here? Absurdus. I would also be interested in working on exoskeletons. Great. So yeah, I mean, Absurdus, this is very common, you know. It's like, oh, I have all these interests and all these passions. How do I choose? You know, it's hard, right? But you have to find the patterns that you see within yourself, right? So again, you know, trying to work with potentially nanomaterials or exoskeletons. Like, what do you mean exoskeletons, right? So does that mean like working with whatever materials robots are made out of? You got to think about how that integrates into the trends. Like, not trying to predict which jobs are good, but how do exoskeletons integrate into where you see the future of whatever industry you're interested in? Where do you see that going, right? So I'd love to hear that so we can keep this going. Random guy, thanks for stopping by again. I recognize you. You changed your logo though, right? Class should have 46 minutes ago, but doors are not open. Interesting. So are you somewhere on the East Coast where it snowed and everything? TW. Sorry I haven't been on here in a while. It's okay. When should I start planning my high school and college career? I don't know how old you are, and provide me some context, right? I don't know. Are you 12? Are you going into college this fall, right? Thanks, TC Berry. No problem. Great. You joined the Facebook group. I'm going to go ahead and approve you right now because it's closed. That way we can while out in there and say whatever we want, and there's no professors or... oh, you didn't request to join, so go ahead and do that. But yeah, it's closed, so nobody can get in there and see what we say. What's up, MD? If you have any questions, we're doing Q&A right now. I went through my top 3 networking tips already. So there's no questions queued up at the moment, so I just might clip this stream because I always have a million things to work on. I really just hopped on here to keep it fresh, to always be trying to release some content. And, you know, I would release a video every day if I had a team that could help me and if I had the resources to provide that, because I really do like this community. I really do like the crux of this, which is helping young engineers and really telling the stories about underrepresented engineers has been another massive focus within this platform. I'd like to tell stories about the success of engineers of color and women engineers and things like that. So if that's you right now, great. Otherwise, I just think that's really important to storytell about that, you know. So it's just a way that I can use this project and this platform and my progressivism and what I believe in to blend all of them, right? Like if I interviewed just white male engineers, that would be super basic, and that would go against what I believe in terms of change for the world. So I use this platform and these, I don't know, 12, 13, 14,000 social followers, 10,000 here, and then Instagram 1,000, got an email list with 1,000. Yeah, like almost 15,000 social reach for that to be my element of good, right? That's the change that I'm trying to deploy with this project, right? Like a lot of people, they make a company, they make a business, they try and generate money, and then they use that money, like what Bill Gates did, to then create a foundation to change the world, right? Well, this doesn't make any money, so I can't hire people to go do something, but what I can do is elevate and bring exposure to underrepresented demographics. So just for the people who are watching right now and the people who are checking this out on the rebroadcast, I just find the need to hammer this in and talk about how I do think that is what I will use to help grow this, right? Trying to partner with or like I wish I was at the National Society for Black Engineers conference in Pittsburgh right now. It's happening for the rest of the week and I think weekend. Like I wish I could be there, right? And this is another reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm building this video business on the side, and if everything goes as planned, it's quitting my job in a month. It's really weird to say that stuff while I'm still working and it's on the internet and things like that, but that's the plan. In order to maybe not necessarily just make more videos and grow this community, but to get physically involved, just like I was telling you, TC Barry, to get involved with the community that I feel like I need to be more involved with, right? Like that's my example of your developer and your open source and your mechanical engineering community thing is there are communities here in Wilmington, Delaware, outside of where I live, who are going into urban schools and trying to tell these kids who have no idea that they can even get into college I want to help them figure out that, hey, these are the different STEM majors and these are the things that you can aspire for, and just help them just like I'm trying to help all you guys. I need to get more involved with that sort of thing. And this project being focused on that, right, underrepresented engineers, that is how I'm going to get support. That's how people are going to want to partner with me, right? You need to have some level of social good. I've been looking for that since I started this project, and it's been really cool to kind of hone in on that. I thought for a while it was like partnering with Engineers Without Borders and doing that sort of thing. That didn't work out. But yeah, this has been really cool. So what other questions do you guys have? And awesome. Thanks, TC Barry. Des, just want to say thank you so much. Appreciate that, Des. I took your advice about networking, and now I have an undergraduate research position for the summer. Woo! Des, please post about that in the Facebook group, okay? Please post about that success, because the best way to brag in life is you don't brag about yourself. You brag about the people who you have helped and the people who you have brought wins to, right? So your wins, your success, I think of that as community success, 1% Nation success. I'm very happy for you, and I want to know, and I want the rest of the community to know, so I can brag about you, Des. So please post in the group about that. Congratulations, major congratulations. I'm really, really happy for you. Really appreciate that. I'm curious what company, what city, if it's far from home, that sort of thing. Yvette, thank you. Hope you're still in here. I want to pursue computer science in college. Great. What would be some ways to prepare? I'm currently taking free coding course on EDX, Coursera. Great. So that's exactly, like I read that question, what are some ways to prepare? And my heart hits the floor because I'm like, oh my God, there's so many free ways to learn to code, but you're already doing it. So I would say to take it a step further, Yvette, definitely push those courses. Don't pay for some sort of expensive boot camp. But what you should do is try to build a portfolio of your work, the projects that you work on. And if you need project ideas, just Google them and YouTube them. But the stuff that you build, your programming projects, your coding projects, build a portfolio, like a one-page little summary. This is what I did, and this is what it does. And then maybe have a link to it so that if you make a PDF and somebody could click on it and then maybe go to a website, like a free Squarespace website or free WordPress website and or medium.com blog thing, and you keep all your projects there or something like that. You need to build a portfolio now, right, of all the stuff you've done so you can show what you can do. TW, I have no idea how to pronounce your handle, so you're now TW. I'm 15 and Groupon, working on small engines and doing electrical repair and things geared to engineering. Great. Okay. TC, I still have no idea when you should start or what you're trying to figure out, but let me give you the rundown. Okay, so when you are, so you're 15, great. So you're 15. So you should start thinking about colleges now. Are you in America? I get the impression that your first language is not English, but if you tell me where you're from, what part of the world you're from, I can give you some advice, because you should very much so be thinking about what do you want to major in for college. 3 things: what you want to major in for college, where you might want to go, right? Like what schools are the right fit for that. And that also means what you can afford and things like that. And then the affordability thing goes right into scholarships and grants, working on that. So what you want to be, where you want to go, and how you can fund going to that place that you want to go, right? You want to get as much scholarship and as much grant money as you possibly can. So you should be thinking about those 3 things: what you want to do for the rest of your life, i.e. what you want to study, where you want to study it, and how you can have other people pay for that. Angel. I always almost say angle when I see Angel. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, Jay, quick question. So my community college, it's so funny. Everyone should get out of the habit of saying so many so's. So is the new It just makes me laugh. I do it, so no offense, but it's just hilarious to me that people insert so, right? Hey, like this is appropriate. Hey, Jay, quick question. My community college that I like, just no so. It's just a bad habit. A lot of people, like even when I interview people, like people who travel the world speaking, I get them to introduce themselves, and I say, go ahead and say your first name and the title of your TEDx talk, and they say, so my name is Jake Voorhees, and it's like, like what? I have to take that out of the interview because you sound silly. Okay, so Angel says, sorry about that little funny rant. I think just so is the new So what I'm getting at, if you want to be better speakers, better typers, better everything, better writers, just start to eliminate it from your everyday talk. Just like I do my best to eliminate curse words so I don't accidentally curse on stream, and I do my best to eliminate ums and things like that. A pause, a hold, a period of silence is much better than an You don't have to fill it with an My community college that I go to in the fall of 2018, or that I might go to in the fall of 2018, has this is your question, Angel, general engineering classes, but the professors are civil engineers. Should I ask if they need help, like research? Interesting question. I highly doubt that your community college professors are working on research projects, because that's not how that architecture works. How a standard engineering university, or how universities work in general, is this. The university hires these professors. They generally don't pay them their full arranged salary. What they do is they say, you need to do research and you need to crank out papers, and you have a certain quota for research papers that you generate for this university. And in order to incentivize that research, you need to go out and in your grants and funding proposals that you write in a part of your salary. Okay, so it just becomes a part of the whole university ecosystem. And what happens is they have funding for a grad student to be the lead for this project, and then they write the paper together, right? None of that exists in the community college ecosystem. However, I think that figuring out who these, I think you're kind of getting ahead of yourself, right? Like, you're not there yet, so you don't even know if you're going to go. So you don't even know if that's going to be the community college for you. So if you're jet set on that community college, you can start building a relationship with these people in advance if you want. You can email them. You can do what I did. If you are going to lock in on that school and become a future student, you can just email them. That's your warm intro. That's tip number 1. That's your warm intro. Hey, I'm really excited about your program and blah, 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 and you say what's up and start getting to know them already. And if they live in your area and you live in that area, you can maybe even meet up with them in advance and build that relationship there. But your question about you're not even sure if you're going to that school and trying to get dialed into research, like you're missing some steps. And lots of people do this. I can't tell you how many 14-year-old future engineers I talk to, and they're like trying to pick their postdoctorate situation. It's like 15 years down the road. Like, you gotta one step at a time here. MD Nithin, great. Italy, awesome. I'm actually, I think I'm going to be in Italy in May. Italy and Germany, big announcement coming up. Might have just spoiler alerted that situation right there. But yeah, I got invited to go on like a 3-week Euro trip with one of these TEDx speakers. So hoping that all that works out. There's no guarantee, but my old business partner, I was invited last fall. My old business partner went, actually, so I know it's real. He toured. It was all over. He toured Germany and Italy. It was like Rome, Berlin, all over the place, Munich. This trip is actually in London as well, so we will see. So MD Nithin, maybe I can see you in Italy. What do we got here? I don't remember what your question is. I don't like to... Like, in order for me, you have to put your final questions together in the chat. Otherwise, I have to go and, like, read through the chat, and then it creates silence on the airwaves, and I'm just not willing to do that. So go ahead and put your final question together. Yeah, so TW whatever, I suggest that you change your YouTube handle, right? Because if no one can pronounce your YouTube handle, then you just get forgotten about, right? You need to change it to your name. You need to be a personal brand. Like, change it to your name. Like Matt Sylvester, I think that's really smart. What's up, Matt? I think that's really smart to do your name as a personal brand. So I don't really see, what are some other questions? Michael, I guess that's Michael Dragon, cool name. Where are you from? That seems like Dragon. Seems like Ukrainian or Russian or Eastern European. Question is, hi. Considering you said I don't like coding in EE. Yep. Is there a lot of discrete math? Like, yeah, there's a lot of math in any engineering. I took discrete math in high school and didn't enjoy it as much as calc. Well, if you enjoyed calc, you're still above most people. So, Michael, don't worry. I think you're fine. But you just got to look at like the skills that you have and what you're interested in. Like, if you like to code, then I would look at electrical engineering, computer engineering, maybe even aerospace, even mechanical. Yeah, Absurdus, we'll see. Emerson, I always say both your names. So, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up, actually. So if you have any final questions, drop them in the chat. But this has been great to get back on here and live stream. Haven't live streamed in a little bit. And it's funny because if you stop going on social or if you stop putting out content just briefly, what happens is the whole environment changes. And even like the way you start a stream changed. And I was like, what is this? Even though the last time I did this was, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months ago. So you always have to be doing it. You always have to be doing it because these platforms change so fast. Which is what's cool about building a business today, because the people who had internet marketing figured out like just a couple years ago, it's all different, right? Social media platform. Everybody's talking about Vero right now for social media, by the way. Go download Vero, Vero. I think that's the next social platform, guys. I'm going to go ahead and drop the spelling in the chat. Vero. Download this. Download that. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the next big thing. Remember this moment. All right, what do we got here for questions? Do I think that getting a certificate is worth the time? What type of certificate? Right? For example, here you go. Georgia Tech offers a nanomaterial certificate for... Okay, so I think if you can get a certificate... What's up? Lambagu. So I think, Emerson, to extend your time at university, like if you need to do an extra semester or take a whole bunch of extra classes, and certainly if it's an extra year, the answer is definitely no. Like, no one really cares about a certificate, but it can't hurt to have it if you can integrate it into your existing curriculum. So if you can get a nanomaterial certificate, and so what would false social be, Renelf? Right? True social? I don't know what that means. And I study social media. So if you can get a certificate and integrate it in, like for example, for me, I could have gotten a math minor, which we'll say this is the equivalent of a certificate. Or let's put it this way. Let's say the University of Delaware offered a business certificate. If for all my breadth requirements, I took like economics and then macro and then all these business courses, and then I could have fulfilled that certificate using all of my existing engineering breadth requirements, then yeah, go for that, right? Like if you like the curriculum for that nano technology certificate enough that you can fit that into all your tech electives and get that without doing an extra semester, yes. Otherwise, no one really cares about a certificate. It's not going to help you on your resume. Nobody really cares that much. It's all about what you know and who you know, right? So that certificate doesn't mean that you know stuff. It just means that you got grades in classes. And that's really, at the end of the day, what a degree means too, right? Like if you have a great degree, a degree from a great school and a good GPA, but you don't have a portfolio, you don't have any internships, and you don't know people, then you suck, right? You suck and everyone knows you suck and you won't be able to get a job. So the certificate is the same. If you have 18 certificates after graduation and no skills and no contacts, do you think that those certificates will help you? Right? So only do it if you really like it and you can integrate it into your program. So limiting how, right? Limiting how. Great. Good day, Jake. I want to ask you about a master's degree program, which is civil engineering with specialization in computational method. You made that up. I don't quite understand what is the meaning of computational method. Yeah, because you made that up. All right, just for the shits and giggles. Master's computational method. I'm pretty sure it's some sort of structural engineering. MS in advanced computational methods for aeronautics. Tell me the school. Link me the program. Link me the program. I don't know what that is either. But the 5 types of civil engineering and also the facets that you could go down in terms of master's degree is clearly structural, transportation, environmental, coastal, and geotechnical. And water resources gets lumped into environmental there. It's technically environmental engineering. What else? Yvette, as part of an online coding program, should I pay for the certificate to prove what I've done? No. So, Yvette, most online paid coding programs, they're called boot camps. And a lot of times what a boot camp is doing is trying to replace or not really supplement, honestly, fully replace a 4-year education. So it takes somebody who kind of knows how to code, really gets them up to speed, and in 3, 6, 9, 12 months, whatever, you pay like 10 grand. A lot of them are around 10 grand. And all of a sudden, you should have the skills, probably better skills than someone coming out of a 4-year university with a computer science major. So if you want to look at Udemy courses and paid courses that are like 10, maybe up to $50, so you can continue to hone your skills and maybe just be able to say that you've taken those courses, then great. But I would not encourage you to look at boot camps or things that are going to be expensive, because if you're going to university, then that is going to, at this time, supersede and be more important than whatever boot camp experience you have. Renelf, I really want to know what Vero True Social. Like, is that Vero's full tagline? True Social? Like, there's only one Vero. So if I just Google Vero. Oh, yeah, Vero True Social. Yeah, great. I just didn't know. Yeah. I just didn't recognize the full. Yeah, you got it. I look silly now. Is it possible to get a scientific job or any engineering job before you get a degree? Absolutely, Tyler S. That's what internships are, and research experience. Absolutely. You can also get technician jobs, engineering tech. You can be a drafter. You can work with sort of the hands-on type of application for things. But you can never have an engineering role or be on a trajectory. I do get this question sometimes. You can never become an engineer without having an engineering degree. You just can't. And the reason for that is that in order to become a professional engineer, which means you need at least 4 years experience and a degree, and in order to stamp stuff and say that, hey, I'm an engineer and I certify these documents, you have to have a 4-year engineering degree to sit for that exam. So you just need the 4-year situation. But you can get experience along the way before you have your degree. Lemming Howe. Great. So again, like, okay, so by the time you have replied to my comment, I don't know what your first question was, so it's basically lost. So again, let me what was your question? Great. Yeah, I have no idea. So I don't know how to answer that question. So I think it's very important as an authority in any space. If you get a question that you don't know how to answer, say that you don't know how to answer it. And I don't know anything about computational method. I've never even heard of that, which makes me believe it's some niche program which will not yield you the best situation for your career. So I would encourage you to avoid it. No problem, Emerson. It's hard to talk to people and get info. Yeah, it's no problem. I think people are out there to help you. You just have to go out there and find them, right? Like, that's what's cool about this project is I look for you guys, right? I position my videos to be found by you. There's no misconception as to why every single video is about engineering. This is an engineering show, so it attracts engineers. My videos get suggested in front of you guys. I'm looking for you guys, right? And therefore, you guys have all found me. And over time, like you, Emerson, certain members of the community, like Tommy Williams and Dez, give a couple of you guys shout outs. The Deflector, you've been here for a while. You guys have hung around, and you are now a part of 1% Nation. You're a part of the community. I recognize your handle when I see it, right? I recognize your handle. What's up, Camille? Just like you as well. I recognize your handle when I see it. And you guys need to do the same with the types of people that you were looking for in your lives, right? Finding mentors, connecting with people who are in the positions that you want to potentially have yourself, connecting with additional professors, connecting with people outside of your own university, connecting with other people who are in engineering clubs and societies and whatever, right? You need those people are there. They're there, right? So I just want to chip in there. And when you say it's hard to talk to people and get info, I think they're there. If you ask for help, you go out and find those people. I'm pretty sure they're there. You just have to go look. Tagba, thanks for the question. What would I say to someone that has a degree and has no experience and has been out of school for a long time but cannot find employment? No problem. Should they go back to school or keep looking for work? So what type of degree do you have now, Tagba? I get the impression that you don't have an engineering degree and you're considering going back to school for an engineering degree. That's why you're on this stream right now. So let me know if that is true. I actually have a lot of 1% Nation who are non-traditional students. And for everyone who may be wondering what that means, non-traditional student just means somebody who either has gone back to school or waited. For some reason, there wasn't a fit to go to school when they're 18 or 20. Great. So you have a mechanical engineering bachelor's degree. So then, yep, I understand what that means. So you have no experience and you haven't been able to penetrate the industry, right? And now you want to get, like, if you have a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering, don't go back to school and get another bachelor's degree unless you know for certain that you don't want to be an engineer and you're considering some other type of degree. I really don't think you need to do that because with an engineering degree, it says that you're smart and dedicated and have good work ethic, and you can honestly probably get any degree, any job you want, even if it's in the arts, even if it's in the non-sciences, you still probably can. It's still about what you can do and who you know. Like if you build a portfolio for whatever, like tell me, let's get right down to brass tacks, right? Like how long have you not been in engineering? What have you been doing since you got your degree? And what are you trying to work in? Like, let's just spit it all out there so I can give you the best advice, right? So what have you been doing? How long has it been in this gap? You've alluded that there's this gap, right? How big is the gap? What are you doing right now? And what do you wish that you could be doing in the future? Like if you had your dream job right now, answer those 3 questions so I can help you out. And right now, guys, we're at the end of the questions. So keep them coming. And Camel Canal, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. Deflector, should I go to career fairs in junior and senior year at the end of college or as early as possible? Yes. What I like to say is that your search for that final or that job after your final year of college starts freshman year. You should be building relationships and working with people as much as possible throughout your 4 years. So if you can network properly and meet people properly, even during your freshman year, you can get an internship after that first year of university. So you definitely should be doing that. Yvette, thank you so much. She says, you're welcome. You've been great help. I know it helped engineering or a lot of great help to know the truth about engineering in this new age. Yep. Your advice, hundreds of vids. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Go ahead and make sure you guys subscribe. Hit the bell too so you will see my videos and my live streams when I randomly do them now. Tagba. Okay. So you've been out of the industry for 6 years. Okay. You still didn't answer all the questions. I still can't help you. Okay. What are you doing right now? Like, what have you been doing? All right, it's been 6 years. You have an engineering, you have a bachelor's of science in mechanical engineering. What are you up to now, right? You're working some job that you hate and you're not proud to mention in this chat, but you're going to because that's what's going to take for me to answer your questions. How valuable do I think minors are? Not valuable at all. So just like I told Emerson, which is Absurdus, great question. He was asking about some sort of certificate, right? Nano materials certificate. Do people care about that? The answer is no. Will it hurt you to have a minor? Will it hurt you to have a certificate? No, as well. But I discourage the focus on a minor or any sort of certificate or anything else unless you can integrate it into your existing program. Meaning, like if you, like for example, for me as a civil engineer, I could have minored in math. If I had done all my tech electives in math classes, I could have gotten a minor in math and not taken any extra classes at all. But I would have had to plan. And I would have had to know that I wanted a minor in math. I would have had to believe it was going to be worthwhile, which it would not have been. No one cares. And I would have had to have integrated that into my curriculum the entire time. So only minor in something if you can do it within your existing curriculum. And if you like the courses enough to truly do that, because getting a minor is some extra work. And if you think it is exciting enough and interesting enough and is going to actually benefit your career. So, I talk to people about double majoring in engineering. That is ridiculous. Or minoring in one type of engineering. That is ridiculous. Like, no one cares. No one cares. The degree, and you need a degree. But the parameters around that degree, like your GPA and the minor that you got, and to a larger extent, even the school that you went to, these things don't matter. It's what you can do and who you know. What you can do and who you know. Not your minor, not how you're in all these clubs. Were you president of the club, right? That's an achievement. But it's all about who you know. That's the benefit of being in the clubs. That's the benefit of having all this stuff on your resume, is you meet people being on these teams. You meet people going to these events. You meet more contacts every time you get an internship. It's another person in your Rolodex that can provide you an opportunity down the road. And you're building experience when you get involved with teams and clubs and internships. But it is not about the extra fluff on your resume, which is a minor. That's really what it is. Sean Davidson, great. So I'm going to try to read your comments and figure out what the question is. So 4-month co-op in Toronto, because I already forgot what your original thing was. 4-month co-op in Toronto, Victoria, great. I actually lived in Vancouver for 4 years, Sean. I just moved back from there a little under a year ago. I wish I had, like for example, is it still working? Yeah. Like the Real Talk Summit is an event in Vancouver. Check this out. I'm going to find some Vancouver context for you. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's like nothing about Vancouver in here. But just Google the Real Talk Summit real quick. Or like Daily Hive. You know about Daily Hive. It used to be the Daily Buzz. Yeah, man, I love Vancouver. I hope this is working. I like kicked my mic really hard. Okay, so Sean Davidson says, Victoria, Vancouver, blah, 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 large structural firm, switching departments. I don't know what your question is. And I'm not going to scroll back up and have everyone else wait. So, Sean, if you can consolidate what your question was. I'm like kind of scrolling right now. I can't find it, though. So, I don't know what you're trying to figure out. But thanks for all the context. Let me know what your question is, and I'll get right to that. What do we have here? Talk about, I've been working in a restaurant, no problem, most of the time, and I've taught myself SolidWorks as well. So, talk about, like, let's be self-aware here, okay? So if you're working in a restaurant, you must, are you serving or are you in the kitchen? Because I think your challenge is that you're quiet and shy and introverted and you don't know how to network and you don't know how to meet people. Because if you're smart enough to get a 4-year degree in mechanical engineering, or you got really bad grades and you don't have enough confidence, yeah, great. So talk about what you need to do is, oh, you're waiting tables. Great. Okay, so I don't understand then, because the reason why I'm vetting you out like this is because if you are waiting tables, it means that you're actually not that quiet and shy, and you have the ability to have a conversation with anyone, and you can talk with people, which means you can probably go to a networking event and probably crush it, right? At this point, you're probably really self-conscious about being out of the industry for this long. We can do some strategies about that, but what do you think? Like, if you could look back in that first 12 months of being out of school, like, look back and what did you do that have led you to now, right? Like, this isn't the first time you've thought about this. Like, oh, I wish I could get into the industry. What's going on? Like, you had those thoughts at 3 months out of school, 6 months out of school. Like, I have a buddy right now who he did what you did, And he got his degree. We graduated at the same time. He's actually a mechanical engineer. I might actually go hang out with him tonight. We'll see. He's on his way to Ultra Music Festival, and they're getting on their plane at 3 o'clock in the morning. Crazy. So he like bartended for 2 or 3 years outside of school, and he, started to think like what you're probably thinking about right now. Like, what are people going to think if I go to a networking event? I'm never going to be able to get into the industry now, which is the woe is me attitude and self-defeating. And that's definitely how you never get back into the industry, is first by believing you're never going to get back into the industry. So there's no such thing as luck, by the way. Lucky is, about Ultra Music Festival. No, luck is a combination of preparation and opportunity. So talk about, I guess let's not look back at your first year. So what is holding you back right now from getting involved? Because what's nice about working in the restaurant industry is the restaurant industry works off hours, right? So networking events, meetups, career fairs, job fairs, conducting informational interviews, calling people, walking into offices, all these things can be done during business hours, which is not prime time for you right now. So if you want to hustle and if you want to actually invest a little bit of time to change up your life and utilize that mechanical engineering degree and actually impact the world and make change and have a life that you probably want to live, because if you wanted to be a server the rest of your life, which is fine if that's what you want, you wouldn't be on this stream, you wouldn't be asking all these questions, you wouldn't be spending your time with 1% Nation. So I know what you're trying to do. So let's talk about that. Like, what is holding you back? A lot of times people have some fear, right? They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of doors being slammed in their face. They're afraid of being laughed at. They're afraid of sharing all these horror stories with their friends and their family. Like, I got my 12th no today after cold calling, right? Like, what are you afraid of? What is holding you back? What are your barriers? Maybe you do have some other barriers. Maybe you have 3 kids at home, right? Like, I don't know. What are your challenges? What are your barriers? What's holding you back right now? Deflector. Employers do look at grades a little bit. I just saw an interesting comment on a Facebook group tonight. Somebody who's at NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers, who was talking with somebody who was just like me. They were well-spoken and were networking well, and they had this stacked resume, but they didn't have very good grades. That's my situation. I didn't even have a 3.0 graduating from college with civil engineering at University of Delaware. I got into grad school because of relationships, not because of grades. And she was furious because what happened was there was a panel, and they were reviewing these candidates for something. It was like mock interviews or something. And this person was crushing it, right? Speaking well, good resume. And then they said, "What's your GPA?" He said 2.7. And the whole panel went quiet, and they kind of shunned him because he didn't have a 3.0. And she got pissed. She got super pissed because she's a leader in like the engineering entrepreneur community, and that she could connect to the situation just like I can connect to the situation. So it's not all about grades. You do need to you should be trying to get a 3.0. I mean, I just put 3.0 on my resume. I didn't care, right? I just did it, and I've never been challenged or questioned about that. And that's just how I roll. But it's important, but it's not that important. Like, for example, if you have a 3.5 and no internships and you don't know people, I would much rather, like, your 3.5, no relationships, no experience versus 3.0, relationships and experience, this person gets chosen. 4.0, no relationships, no experience, 3.0, relationships, experience, they still want the 3.0. They want to know, again, what can you do and who do you know, right? And the who do you know part is so important because it's not just about who do you know, it's that this person, like, you are here, and this person that you're trying to get a job with is here, but you have this middleman that says, "Oh yeah, John Smith, that person is good. That person always shows up to class. That person puts in work ethic and is trustworthy." That's what people want. They want somebody who's going to show up to work. They want someone who's not going to let them down. They want someone who's not going to lie and cheat and steal. And somebody who can just figure stuff out, right? Like, are you smart enough to figure something out? That's kind of what an engineering degree shows, but it goes deeper with the referral. Everything is fear. Everything is fear, Tagba. We need to probably talk one-on-one about this because it seems like you just have some mental blocks going on that I've seen over and over and over again. And a lot of times, Tagba, for you, like, you clearly are smart. You clearly can talk to people. Because if you are that much of an introvert and shy and quiet, you wouldn't be able to hold a serving job. You'd be fired. So I know you're not some total nerd who just can't talk to people. So your problem is all mental. Like you have this issue in your head and it's your own issue. And to you, it seems impossible to change and tackle. But what you most likely need is somebody to just tell you that you can do it. You need somebody to help you out and mentor you and encourage you to go and try and fail. You need somebody to give you permission to fail, right? To give you permission to have 10 no's before you get that yes, right? That's what we need to do. So what I think we should do, not in a bunch of lines, please consolidate your messages. Tell me again, remind me what city you're in. Okay, you want to work in aerospace, great. That's good that you know what you want to do, because this is hard to do if you don't know what you want to do from here. Okay. What city are you in, right? Tell me that, and we're going to come up with a little plan right here. I got you. What else we got here? Let me know. Jake, can I know how frequent do I come online and how I do live streams, because it's so helpful? Yeah, well, I used to release a video every Wednesday and every Saturday, and then sometimes I would randomly live stream. But this 1% Engineer project has gone on for about a year, and I love it. I love this community that I've built. I love all of you. Thank you for being here. But I encourage you to go back to episode 100 and watch a little bit about that. That will give you the summary of what has happened over the last year and where we're going from here. But I am actually super unhappy with my engineering job. I'm not really headed in the direction that I want to go. And I want to work on things that can change the world and help a lot of people. Help a lot of people, like this situation right here. And what's holding me back from growing this and being able to have the most impact that I can have is actually, ironically enough, my job, right? So I've been doing tons and tons of video production on the side for years, built businesses on the side for years, like wedding stuff and drone things, and been really close to walking that line of thinking about like branching out and doing that full time, but never actually taking the plunge. And I've realized over the last year that has to happen now, right? That has to happen now. So I'm coming up on my 1 year anniversary with the job that I'm working, and I'm laying down the infrastructure and telling all my mentors and basically building up the base to do video production full time where I live. And for that reason, I have paused the show because I don't have time to do both without having enough revenue generation to hire a video editor and things like that to scale this project while I'm building a foundation for something else. So videos will be sporadic, but I will use this project and this platform as a case for what I represent and a personal brand and what I'm trying to do. For example, I'm going to be going into schools and getting more involved with local brick and mortar organizations. And what I plan to do is go to schools, particularly ones who need it the most, like not high prep type of, high income schools, and basically doing what you guys ask about and breaking down. If you want to be an engineer, here's the 8 that you need to look at. This is what you need to know about. A quick preview into what aerospace engineering is and what computer engineering is, and really do like a 30-minute or 60-minute workshop for different schools. I don't have the ability to do that with this job that I have, right? So it makes me very unhappy. I feel stuck. And this is a long explanation about why I've slowed down with the show right now, okay? So for those of you watching and those of you checking out the rebroadcast, that's what's going on with the pause of the show. I announced it at episode 100, which was released all in a year, which was insane. I just don't have the ability to work full-time, build a business, and produce this show. Like, this show is a full-time job in itself without another editor. Editing sucks. If I can just film, have somebody help me develop a script, I can just film. The filming is the magic part. Being the on-camera personality and having the knowledge and having the desire to be a mentor. That's the magic part. Editing videos sucks, but somebody's got to do it. And if you can't build a team or fund it or outsource it, then you just have to do it yourself, and that's what I've been doing. But to get to where I'm trying to go, something's got to give. And right now, unfortunately, the show is slowing down. So long story short, just hit the bell, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get an email and a push notification when I go live and when I release videos. Because I'm still going to document. I'm still going to create content around things. I actually think it's going to shift into a lot of business content, to be honest. I'm going to document, like that's what this networking video is a little bit about, is my tips about networking and how I've been building relationships with people. And I think you guys can learn from that too as young engineers. I've had some people in the community ask about, hey, if you're building a business and you've built businesses in the past, can you make videos about that? What we should do if we want to build our own business and if we want to be entrepreneurs. In a way, that was the original foundation of 1% Engineer, how you could rise to be the best engineer. And the only way to really do that is to start your own business and dominate. So just for the people who are in this stream right now, I'd love to hear if that's something you'd be interested in yourself, learning how to build a business. And what I'm focusing on in this first year, which is the most tumultuous time, the most scary time, the most fragile time, is the beginning. What I'm doing right now and how I'm spending my time to ensure success. So if you're interested in that type of stuff for this channel, let me know in the chat right now. Let me know. Yes, I would love to have more videos about that. Because that's the type of content. If your target audience is businesses to make videos for their businesses, you want to make videos about being successful in business, right? So that's the target audience for me local is, what's up, Random Funds? Thanks for stopping by. The target audience for me local is people here in Wilmington, Delaware, and helping their businesses with content marketing, social media, and video. All of that being kind of circled around video, right? Like if you're a podcast, if you're a business, you have a podcast. My favorite example is gardening, okay? You have a garden shop, right? And you sell flower seeds, okay? What should you talk about in your podcast? You should talk about how to have a successful garden, right? Here's the type of fertilizer that we use over here at gardening.com. This is our favorite type of flowers. This is where we buy our flower pots, right? You help people become better gardeners themselves, and then they might buy your stuff. And that's a little bit of the problem with this project, is that there is no revenue model, right? I can't sell you guys anything, even if you help out 99% of everything for free, and then just a small, no pun intended, small percentage, 1% of people actually buy stuff, right? That's how you build and scale. That might provide me the ability to hire a video editor and do all these things that just seem impossible if the target audience is students, right? Like I would probably keep this going if there was a way to do like some coaching, or like sell some books, or do like a $47 video course about a whole bunch of stuff, right? I don't think this is the right audience. Like students just don't buy stuff. I remember myself as a student, I would do even if I had the money, I would do anything I could to not buy stuff. I would try to download it for free, or just hack the system, because engineers are smart enough to get whatever they want for free. So I just don't think I've deliberated on this for 6 months. Is this the right, should I try to build something here in order to scale it and then break away? So I've just deliberated for so long and I haven't done it. So that's kind of where this video business thing is coming into play. It's also the reason about making content about starting a business and growing a business is it's a slightly different audience, but it's still a part of my story, and it's still a part of documenting my journey. And I think that's sort of the point of putting out content as yourself, as a personal brand. That's why I did not make this the 1% Engineer show on YouTube. It's Jake Voorhees is the YouTube channel. That's why my Instagram, as you can see in the bottom right corner, is Jake Voor. Everything is me. The only reason why it's on Facebook is not me is because you kind of have to have it that way. Like I don't want the Facebook page to just be me. I want that to be 1% Engineer. So it seems like I'm getting a bunch of positive feedback about business content, which is really good. I think this is also the way that you create a tribe around your movement, and you just create people who they watch you from the beginning. Like those of you who may be hanging out with me and following the story 2-3 years from now, you'll remember this, and you'll remember me making these announcements about a shift and like the struggles and the challenges that I face, and me trying to navigate this, right? Like I'm trying to figure it out. And people are always trying to look up to somebody who's just ahead of them on the trail, right? Like you don't want to get advice from somebody if it's your first hike and they're the Mount Everest summiter, right? Like they can't relate to you anymore. And you don't want somebody who's behind you. You don't want to be taking advice from somebody who's on the same page as you. You want to be taking advice from the person who's just ahead of you. How did you get there? I'm trying to get there. I can see you, and you're there, and I'm here, and it's not too far. I can see you. How do I do what you've just done? And that person helps you get over that next hurdle, and then that next hurdle, right? And so in a lot of ways, that's what this community is. That's what this tribe is. You guys can relate. Like, it wasn't that long ago when I was a student. I graduated at 22, went to grad school. So I didn't even start working until I was 25. That was 5 years ago. I'm 30. I can relate, right? I can relate. I still go to networking events and job fairs and all this type of stuff that you guys are doing. And now I'm taking this shift into entrepreneurship. And it's interesting being an engineer and doing 1% Nation, the 1% Engineer Show, and then potentially, or in this case so far, definitely leaving engineering behind. It very much so is interesting, but that's what's going on. And I just think documenting that process and documenting that journey is really important. I think it's really cool for you guys to have a little bit of a preview into that. So I'm going to go back up here and look at some of these questions. So that's a long-winded question for you, Liming How. Michael Dragon, you're responding to Toby. Thank you for that. Sean Davidson, the question is, which of the 3 cities would I recommend? Sean Davidson, are you still here? Yeah, you must be. Which of the 3 cities would I recommend for experience opportunities? I live in Toronto, mainly want to share experiences in Vancouver. Don't go to Victoria. Victoria is super boring. You want to go to Vancouver. If you want to go to the West Coast, go to Vancouver. I highly think you should go to Vancouver to visit. Like, if you can co-op out here, I say here just like I'm still there. If you can co-op out there, or you can, I'm trying to think if I have any other Vancouver stuff back here. But if you can find a way to take an opportunity in Vancouver, just go out there for some reason at all. I can't seem to find anything that's Vancouver based back here on my shelf. But if you can just find a way to be out there in Vancouver, have a coffee mug that's usually like right here. If you can find a way to be out there, you should go. Vancouver is what they call an international city. It attracts people from all around the world. Sydney, London, New York, Vancouver, right? These places are so iconic, so gorgeous. If you have any knack for the outdoors, if you like to ski, even if you don't like all those things, Vancouver just has something for everyone. They film so many movies there. It's called Hollywood North. It is beautiful. There's so many people. I have met so many people from all around the world from Vancouver. I loved it. So I would encourage you to go. But Toronto is pretty good too. So you're in Houston. Tagba, you still here? Talk about what you need to do. I actually know a couple people in Houston and a whole bunch of people in Texas that are engineers. What you need to do, Tagba, is you just need to start positioning yourself as an authority in aerospace engineering and start meeting people in aerospace engineering. So, Tagba, this is what you need to do. Okay, and I only give this type of advice to people who I think will do it. And I think for your situation, if you've been out of school for 6 years, you're probably 28, and you're to the point where you're realizing, like, holy crap, I'm about to turn 30, and I'm probably not married, and I'm definitely not in a career that I want to be in, and I'm really, like, most people, right when they turn 30, they start to put, it's like a quarter life crisis, or a third life crisis, I should say. They put themselves in check, right? Am I headed in the right direction that I want to go in? And you can kind of sense that. Right, you can. I'm sure. I know it. This is why you're here, right? And you're like, I don't want to be doing this for another 5 years, right? So here's what you need to do. Okay, and this is going to be a little bit of effort, but this is what you need to do. It's going to help you so much. Start a blog about aerospace engineering. Start a blog. If that's the field you want to work on, and if you're in Houston, you're in the right place, you're in the right part of the country to be looking into that. If you have a mechanical engineering degree already, you need to start a blog, okay? And you need to put out 5 to 10 articles yourself. And if you actually like aerospace engineering enough that you want to shift your life and change your career and get your focus into that, then this should be no problem. You can blog about how you watched the Falcon Heavy last month and your views on that. And just blog about stuff that you like. And here's how you're going to use that. People aren't going to discover your blog overnight, but what you're going to do is you're going to use that just how I use this platform and how I use this project. You're going to leverage this project as authority. Like when I reach out to people, I talk about this platform and this community, and this is what I represent. This is what I believe in, and I want to uplift underrepresented engineers, and this is how I'm doing my part. You're going to do the same. What you would post about is you would just be a curator of aerospace engineering stuff. You follow other aerospace engineering blogs. And I actually had a biomedical engineering student do this on 1% Engineer website. You should go to 1percentengineer.com and I had a student do 16 biomedical engineering blogs. We had a spot called Biomedical Mondays, Biomed Mondays. 1%engineer.com is the website for this. Okay, click on blog, and you will see a whole bunch of blog articles about biomedical engineering. And this student, Hamza Wahid, used my blog as an authority platform for him being a visionary in biomedical engineering. And he's used that as talking points. He's used that to build relationships. He's used that to interview people. And what you do is it helps you stand out. It gives you credibility. Since you have zero credibility as a waiter and somebody who has no experience in engineering over the last 6 years, you can use this to stand out. Hey, I'm Tagba, and I've been running this project, and you can reach out to people, and you should start using the blog to land you informational interviews and start building contacts, right? And when you go to networking events and when you meet people in this industry, or you follow these tips and you build a little bit of a relationship over social, you comment on their blogs, and then when you finally send that email, you can talk about how you want to interview their take on your blog, right? And you build a relationship using your little platform that you've done for free and just takes a little bit of time. And if you're already following the industry and your finger is already on the pulse of aerospace engineering, you can do this, right? So if this feels like work to you and you hate it, maybe you hate to write, then maybe a different medium is for you, right? You can do the same on Instagram. You can curate visual images of stuff that's going on in the space industry, and then you can start to highlight stories of professionals who work in Houston, and you can leverage that Instagram project as a way into informational interviews and build relationships and feature stories about these people that you want to then go in and have coffee with them, or you want to learn about what they're up to, right? You use that as a way to stand out. You use that as your give. Hey, I want to interview you. Hey, I want to come in and talk about your company. Hey, I want to come in and talk about this new project that you want. This is what you need to do, okay? So this is how I know who the winners and the non-winners are, is that this is free, right? Writing a blog post will take you 30 minutes each, and just one per week is all you need to do. If you're already passionate about aerospace engineering, then you don't really have to do a whole bunch of research. You just look at hey, like when I blog about something, it's usually like this video topic tonight, just a couple notes, is because I've been studying networking, for my entire life. But I've been studying networking very seriously over the last couple weeks to a month, because that's what I'm focusing on right now, is building relationships with businesses right here so that they can become my clients, right? And if I can take what I'm learning and what I'm focused on, what I'm passionate about, and repurpose that for content for this audience, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what you need to do as well with your aerospace engineering project, right? And so if you absolutely don't want to blog, you don't have to blog. You can still do all the same stuff, but it just becomes so much easier when you have something that differentiates you from everyone, some way to give to provide a give. Otherwise, you just have to ask for an informational interview. You have to go to networking events, and then you have to tell your real story, right? That sucks. Your real story sucks. You would have to say that you've been out of the industry for 6 years and I've been working as a server. And that just raises a bunch of flags. Like, why? Why is that what you're up to, right? Like, what's your story? Tell your story. And if you have a story to tell, something that you believe in, something that you're working on, something that you're involved with, a little niche community like aerospace, and this is why I am interested, because I blog about this once a week or whatever, right? You actually admin some Facebook groups. That's great. Okay. Yeah, you still aren't building human relationships with people over Facebook like that, right? Like, unless you're working on some sort of podcast project or blog where you're like email interviewing these people, or you're really standing out, like just adminning for Facebook groups is good. I think that's great that you're involved with that, but I highly doubt that has been doing anything to change your world, because you didn't start that group, right? Like, you're just an admin for someone else's group, for someone else's dream, right? Like, you need to become a leader of something, and the way you do that is by creating authority, by putting out content. And just trust me, like, the way that you stand out and build a name for yourself and build a personal brand for yourself in aerospace engineering in Houston is by putting out content, and by putting out enough content such that you can start to tell other people's stories and use that as a push and a give to them. And if you don't want to do the blog thing, you don't have to. Again, it just starts by getting out there and meeting people and having informational interviews and going to these events and joining some professional clubs. And it's totally fine if there's some sort of, what's up, Joe Tesh? It's totally fine if you show up to these professional networking events and clubs and societies for aerospace engineering or whatever, and you tell your real story. And that's okay. They will probably want to help you, right? But that's what it's going to take for you is you're going to have to go out there and meet people and get to know people and build relationships either way. And the best way to do that, I believe, is to start that blog. Okay, guys, so I think I might have missed some questions. I'm going to go ahead and scroll up. If you have any new questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I really like streaming, so it's not hard for me to just like sit here and riff and talk about questions. Mr. Ja, are you still in here? What's the best time to take the leap when you have a great network? Oh, what's up, Dr. Ja? It is you. I thought that was you, Jalal, earlier on, but your thing is Mr. Ja. So I didn't think that was you. You're probably not on here anymore because you're a busy man. The best time to take the leap, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm still trying to figure that out, right? Like, for me, Dr. Ja, guys, I want to give a shout out to somebody that is in here and I'm referring to right now, and somebody who I've been following since we met. But Dr. Ja is in the building right now. I'm going to go ahead and just drop your Instagram. So anybody who is interested in following your journey, they can, because I think yours is particularly awesome. But we met, I've talked a lot about TEDx here tonight, guys, in relationship building and that sort of thing. And had the awesome opportunity to meet Dr. Ja after he gave his TEDx talk last year. I don't know, man. I think, honestly, I should be asking you about networking. I think that you really got all that figured out, and I see the network that you are working with and all the people that you know in your community. I think you're doing all that well. For me, in terms of what I'm up to and like how that all connects back to this tribe and Nehemiah and all these people, I just think that the people that you help along the way and the people that you build ties with, and you can find similar missions and do anything you can to help them and just kind of collectively help each other get to where they're trying to be. I think that's where it starts. I think everybody, in terms of like taking the plunge, I think that was what you said earlier. You said take the leap. Yeah. I think the network is one thing. You got to have the network. You have to have the faith that you're going to find the clients that you need to find or the customers that you need to find. But I think for us STEM people, engineers and chemists, Dr. Ja here, PhD in chemistry, one of the youngest ever people to achieve a PhD in chemistry. I think you were only 22 when you finished up your PhD. That's 4 to 5 years younger than the average person getting their PhD. I think if you're in the most accelerated path of all time, you'd be 26 or 27. But I think it's still all about quantifying your plan, right? Like either having enough cash runway that you can pay your bills for a full 12 months, or if you need longer, or, in my case, and I'm sure your case, Jalal, is building up enough client-based revenue and recurring revenue that that you can at least break even, or you can make that, $1,000-$2,000, whatever your like baseline expenses are, so you can pay your rent and pay your bills and support your family if that's your situation. I think it's a combination of having that network and feeling like you can bridge that gap and go over into full-time and find those clients, find those people who buy, I'm in service-based, so are you. I don't think you have book products and things like that, but I don't think you're building physical products like maybe Harry Kennedy or some other people who are, in the STEM space who are actually, building things and selling them, which is B2C, business to consumer. You're actually selling products to consumers. It's all about the relationships and things, but I think it's still like financial infrastructure, reoccurring clients, and having cash runway. So that's what I've been focusing on for the last several years, and a lot more seriously this spring. If you're still on here, Dr. Ja, which is why I've been slowing down with the show, and in the queue for making episodes, I was just looking at your book. Let me go grab it. And in the queue for episodes is actually episodes about you and Ricky Venters, because this is just a great piece right here. Really happy you sent me this. Really awesome. I know I think it's your second book, and this is what I really liked about you, man, because you got the personal note in the book. I don't always get that. I buy I buy books from people who I believe in, people who, and even gave the 1% engineer a call out in this book. I love that. 1%. Let me see if I can get it on here. 1%. See that? Love it. I really like that. So yeah, man. I mean, I do think about you from time to time in terms of what you're going to be up to, because you're professor at Dell Tech, and you have all these people who, I was looking at your stuff when you were flying over to Europe when you were younger, and like everybody knew that you were going to be this superstar, and you got this Dell Tech thing going on. But I have this feeling that you don't see yourself teaching in front of the classroom in 20 years, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm really curious about what people like you and Nehemiah are going to be up to and what your plans are. But really happy you dropped in here. Go ahead and go follow Jalal, guys, especially on Instagram. That's his main platform. Elite Network. Love it. But I'm going to get to some other questions here. What else do you guys have? So talk about, let me know. Talk about, I hope that yeah, exactly. Nope. Yeah, I knew it. Talk about, I hope that helped you with your situation for getting a little bit more involved with aerospace engineering in the Houston area. Got a lot of contacts. You should definitely join the Facebook group. A huge amount of engineers in Texas. Awesome. Huge amount of engineers in Texas and California are in this community. There's like 600 or 700 people in the Facebook group and like 800 on the email list. So many from Texas. Been streaming here for, I think it's almost 2 hours. I always go on and start off with like a 20 minute video, and then end up doing Q&A for ages, just because it's awesome. So the Facebook group is literally in the stream. /groups 1% engineer is the group. I'll also link it. Sorry if that static was loud. I'm gonna link it right now, so don't worry about searching for it. I'm gonna drop it in the chat. But join this. This is the best way to like have one-on-one, access to me. I'm pretty regular in that group. What I don't like about that group is that you're at the mercy of the Facebook algorithm. So, for example, if I post, not all 600, 700 people see it, right? That sucks, which is why I think people are looking at Slack and Discord and tweeting instead of posting on Facebook about stuff. No problem talking about. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about your dilemma, because honestly, I've had lots of people post in the group and say, hey, I'm 10 years out of they're either trying to go back to school, or they're in your situation, like they've been out of engineering. And a lot of times, what's up, Bryce? And a lot of times, just click on, it's linked above. So you click right on it. The @ is Dr. J.A. Hayes. Dr. Ja. Because the last name is Hayes. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit more. It's Dr. Ja, like that. But I don't think it's going to work. It's not going to link you to Instagram. It's linked above. You can see my little crown. Okay, guys, so I'm probably going to clip this right now. It's almost 10 o'clock. Got some videos to work on. Got some other things to do. Because as you know, announced all the plans here tonight again. Just reiterated. Thank you so much, Jalal, for stopping by the chat, stopping by the stream. Thank you, everyone else who is part of 1% Nation and has been a reoccurring visitor. There's a lot of people who have stopped in again, and you can see people's excitement. What's up? Thanks for stopping by. You can see everyone's excitement as they drop in and say, oh, hey, Jake's streaming, because I haven't streamed in like 5 or 6 weeks because I've been pausing on this content and really just trying to bridge this gap. And it's been an interesting year. I kind of realized going into the 1 year anniversary of the show that I'm just not going to be able to, like, this YouTube thing is not going to take me to where I'm trying to go fast enough. Just feeling super unhappy with what I'm up to in my regular job role, and I've been trying to create this like hybrid positioning and marketing in order to weather the storm, and I just don't think it's there. So the way that civil engineering, just meet with people who are already in civil engineering. Jotesh, that's the way. It's all about networking. So I'm pretty sure, I'm on this path to break away from the system, and have been for years. I just never have actually gone for it. So it should be an interesting year. Kind of mentioned earlier that I got this. Yeah, No problem, Jalal. Got this invite to go to Europe through mid-May to early June. We will see how all that pans out. Hopefully that works out. Really excited about that, which almost feels like fate to me because my 1 year anniversary of the job is May 1st. So I'm planning on putting in that notice at the end of April or mid-April-ish. So yeah, you will see another interesting year, guys. You will see another interesting year. Should be pretty wild. I'm going to put out videos a little bit more irregularly than 2-3 per week. I mean, I stuck to that Wednesday, Saturday schedule for a whole year. And I do have LinkedIn. It's also in the stream there, right there, Jake Vore, LinkedIn. I will go ahead and it's funny how if something was a rattlesnake, right, you would be dead. So I'm going to go ahead and link it. Here's my LinkedIn right here. Everyone connect with me right now. I love LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my favorite type of thing for professional networking and all that other type of stuff. Why isn't my chat working? It's not letting me link my own. So I'm just Jake Vore. It's not letting me link my own profile. No, it's okay. It's not letting me link my own LinkedIn profile in the chat, which is really annoying because I want you guys to just be able to click on it. Whatever. That's okay. But everybody definitely connect with me on LinkedIn right now. I mean, I publish articles every once in a while. I'll do a little thing, but I think having a following and having a community on LinkedIn is really important. And what's cool about LinkedIn is just connecting with other people. It comes up as a follower, right? So the more people that you connect with, the more kind of an audience and a community you have on LinkedIn. So I think it's really important. And LinkedIn is just like the professional Facebook. And LinkedIn has so few people on there who are under 25 that when they report their user data, they start at 25. So they're embarrassed about how many people who are below 25 are actually on the platform. So if you were on LinkedIn while you're in college, big advantage to you, huge advantage to you. All your professors are on there. All the people who you will ever interview with are on there. All the people that you want to get to know right now and the rest of your life are on LinkedIn without question. So you should be there for sure, wearing a fancy looking little suit or whatever and populating it so that you look like a baller. It's basically an online resume in combination with the Facebook type ecosystem. That's what LinkedIn is. So thanks again, Dr. Ja. Really glad you could stop by the live stream. Everybody who has been a part of 1% Nation for the last year or a little bit less. Tommy Williams, Bryce, I know you've been here. Togbo, thanks a lot for talking about what is going on with your world right now. We're definitely going to help you out, figure that out for you. Jotesh, there's no way to answer that. And everybody who is either just coming in here, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell so you can see when I'm streaming live. You can see when I randomly release videos from here on out. And you're going to see this cool little journey. Every time I ask about releasing videos about business building and networking and marketing type things, I get a really good response. People say, yep, I want to learn about building a business and becoming an entrepreneur. Because I think that even though most people can't do it, most people could, they don't put in the enough hustle and work and actually stick to it to become an entrepreneur. I still think that that's the new American dream. People know there's no white picket fence and all that type of stuff, but I think people still believe and dream of building a business and becoming an entrepreneur. So even if people are never going to do it, they still want to learn. They still want to hear about journeys and stories and things like that. That's what I believe. Because there's so many content creators out there who sell products to people who they want to figure it out. It's like the beginning of the curve. And that's why people are so into the get rich quick type stuff, because they think that it's easy and quick and there's no such thing. I mean, Dr. Ja, I'm sure you can speak to that. And it takes a lifetime of hard work to be an overnight success. I mean, you of all of us know that. You've been working your butt off your whole life, and I'm sure that just here lately in the last year, you feel like I've been watching your posts. It's like, the vision is clicking and you're hitting your groove. I know it. I know that how you feel now, but it's a whole life. It's been 10 years since you were 12. Or I don't know if you're 25 if you're 1992. More than 10 years since you're a little kid. I'm sure when you were even 10 years old, 15 years ago, you were hustling and winning competitions and doing whatever future chemists do at age 10. But So anyway, that's my long story about how I'm probably going to release some videos about business building, because that's just what my audience is going to be, people who Togba. I just got your real name is Togba. Oh. Yeah, the content is just going to be a little bit more about helping businesses do marketing and help them grow, in which case it will also help you guys as entrepreneurs, I think, if that is going to be your path. So thank you so much. I always have such a cumbersome trouble time saying bye, just because I really do like the stream environment. And thank you so much, 1% Nation, for everything. I really appreciate it. If you're here and this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. Hit that bell. Make sure you join the Facebook group. Follow me on Instagram. LinkedIn is here. Smash this like button on the live stream, and I'll see you guys later in another video. Peace.